We're back for our next departmental budget discussion. Before we start, I'm Mayor David Briley, and I'm joined by Talia Lomax O'Neill, the city's finance director, and Emily Pacini to my right, who is the chief of staff here in the mayor's office. As you'll remember from last year, Mr. Durbin, the budget was a little bit unusual. Last year, we didn't have the resources we had anticipated, and it required us to tighten our belts over the last 12 months or so. As a result, we did that, and we've saved a bit of money, and we've got additional revenues this year, which allows us to do a cost of living adjustment for our employees and still do steps and open range increases as well, which was well deserved by our employees, and I'm glad we could get to that point in such a short period of time. I know that you've had a busy year, Mr. Durbin, but if you could introduce yourself and those who came with you, and I think it would be great to hear a little bit about your role in opening up the Family Safety Center and the new police headquarters over there. I know they're both big endeavors for the city, and you all played an important role in those two facilities.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the time we have today, and on behalf of the members of the ITS department, we appreciate the perspective of having the 3% COLA back this year. So thank you for all the work that the three of you have done on that over the past year. The members of the ITS leadership assistant directors that I have with me today are Margaret Keck over Communications and Infrastructure Services, and then Greg Nicholson, who is our finance manager. And then in the peanut gallery, I also have John Griffey, Jesse Turner, Rhonda Ammerman, and Cindy Person. But I also have to acknowledge we have other ITS employees in the room who are staff members of Metro Nashville Network, who are streaming these budget meetings, who they're live on Nashville.gov, who are recording them for replay and also posting them to Metro's YouTube channel for our residents. So we've got David and Michael. Thank you for your time in here as well. Mayor, ITS is a service organization that exists only to serve the technology needs of other departments and agencies. Our mission is to work together to deliver exceptional technology solutions that improve the lives of the citizens of Davidson County through the metropolitan government departments that we serve. While we are not directly approving new construction permits, answering 911 calls, or fighting house fires, our 148 employees are directly supporting those within Metro that are doing so. Because ITS staff members are working behind the scenes to serve the public, before we discuss our budget proposal, I'd like to spend a few moments to tell you about the accomplishments and how our Connected Nashville plan is driving Metro's digital transformation. So first off, a few of the significant accomplishments made with our department and agency partners over the last year include the Nash View app, which is prominent on the homepage of Nashville.gov, and it provides our residents and visitors an easy-to-use tool to visualize what's happening around them in their neighborhoods, including things like building permits, property violation, and Hub Nashville service requests. For the police, we've designed and implemented the wired and wireless communications infrastructure that will allow for the transmission of body-worn camera video from the officers and the cars first into the precincts and ultimately to the system for review, analysis, and storage. And then we work very closely with our partners at General Services to provide the networking and communications technologies for new Metro construction projects and renovation, including, as you mentioned, the recently opened police headquarters, Family Justice Center, the Madison Library, and the Smith Springs Community Center, just to name kind of the big high-profile ones. We're really proud of that work. And pivoting slightly from our accomplishments, smart cities is a buzzword in local governments these days, and everyone in this room gets appeals from vendors on the latest gizmo or service offering that will miraculously transform the way Metro does business. Instead of buying that unending hype and going for technology's sake or the bright shiny object, the Connected Nashville project, which was released in 2018, looked over the course of the year at the documented needs of the community as expressed through vetted community plans like In Motion and Nashville Next, and then laid out 21 different strategies to lead digital transformation through technology and data applied to those identified community needs. Just a few examples of the transformative work that is being done today with our department and university partners, which follows the direction of Connect Nashville, include the parking modernization request for proposal, which will bring technology to bear to help visitors find and pay for parking spots and allow Metro to understand parking patterns so that we can make better use of our right-of-way. We are working closely with MTA to implement a modern and open technology-based payment system for their customers who ride public transportation. With Public Works, we work to provide the communications technology to allow for the replacement of existing traffic signals with modern, manageable traffic controllers that will help us ease congestion on our streets and allow for advanced flow of traffic. And because each of these examples provides an incredible amount of data that can be mined for insights, we've established a new data platform that allows us to gather data from these programs that I've mentioned and more, such as the Waze smartphone app, and from the companies that provide everybody's favorite electric scooters, all of which can be consolidated for analysis to help address the transportation problems that we're all experiencing pretty much on a daily basis. And then finally, in April, with your office and our public safety agencies, we will release the Metro Emergency Alerts and Notification System, which is also known as MEANS, which will allow Metro to communicate with residents and visitors to Davidson County during civic emergencies via landlines, mobile phones, texts, or apps. You'll be hearing a whole lot more about that one over the next month. So to sum it up, these and other Connected Nashville projects are focused on meeting the needs of our citizens first and foremost. Turning now to our budget request. ITS was able to meet the requested targeted savings of $400,000 this year, and we see no issue at all with ending up the year in a positive way without any further need or any need for any supplemental funding. Turning to the next topic that we were requested to look at, Blue Ribbon Commission suggestions. So rather than our management just picking some ideas, I put out a survey to our department of 150 people and then got back 51 fantastic selections. I chose the following ideas personally. However, only one of them really falls into the IT realm, so I can only really speak to one of them. The others will call Nancy and others to handle that. So the first was to have departments share heavy vehicles such as bucket trucks, construction equipment in a pool. Second was increase the charge for commercial construction permits. And then the third, which is relevant to IT, is to consolidate procurement and tracking of Metro software licensing to ensure that we are properly licensed across the board. Two benefits from this include avoiding penalties from improper licensing, as well as cost savings that are there with the power of group purchasing. We have done these things already on a small scale, small number of systems Metro-wide, including with Oracle and CityWorks, and are close to doing the same things with our Esri GIS licensing. And thus far, it's been a good model for Metro and one that we would support. And now finally, I'd like to turn to and speak about our FY20 budget request directly. And beyond the request to fund just the existing budget, we are also requesting enhancements in two categories, additional staffing and then requests to cover contractual increases for existing hardware and software. So the easier first, we have requested 5 positions. Each of those positions provides for enhanced services to our customers and citizens in different IT disciplines. I'm not going to go into detail about each of them at this point. I'm happy to do so. They include arenas from a networking support person to an additional staff person for Metro Nashville Networks to a data analyst. And I can speak to them again at the end of this if you're interested. Because from my standpoint, the critical enhancement request for us is to request funding for Metro's non-discretionary contractual obligations for a total additional request of $5.1 million. And just hearing that number, my staff and I are very aware of the magnitude of that number. However, as it represents a swath, a wide swath of already executed critical contractual agreements, I have to address it. So, and as a reminder for those who are viewing this program, ITS is a centralized service provider with ITS holding contracts for systems that cross many departments and agencies. So funding these systems and these contractual increases directly supports those other departments and agencies. So to hit the big $5 million number, it's divided between hardware and software. So the hardware licensing increases are of $617,000, which includes funding for monitoring devices for Metro's very robust networking infrastructure, for our information security infrastructure that fights the tens of millions of attacks that we receive on a daily basis from hackers and malware, and also for the public safety's 800 megahertz radio system, which ITS manages for our public safety agencies and 30 external agencies, including NES, Vanderbilt, and some surrounding communities. Switching to the software side of the obligation, which is $4.5 million, that money is divided among multiple enterprise systems, including Oracle R12, which is Metro's new accounting system, which we'll go live with this summer, CityWorks, which supports permits, licensing, and asset management for codes, public works, and stormwater departments currently. Our Esri geographical information system used by 15 departments within Metro, information security, and other miscellaneous smaller contractual increases, which we have fully documented for you. So with that, thank you for your time today. I very much appreciate the opportunity to work with each of you, and I am happy to answer any questions you might have.
Emily?
Could you talk a little bit about the phase 2 of the hub rollout?
Absolutely. So the first phase of the hub was getting the mayor's office and getting the call center equipped with the ability for individuals to submit and track requests for services and questions. That was done and released last summer. In the second phase, we looked to expand those capabilities to additional departments and agencies, which was done successfully. And as a part of that also was the release of a mobile app, which has also been used. And so we, with the current first and second phases in place, we have been very successful in seeing a great adoption from Hub Nashville. Anecdotally, when I am out in Publix at community meetings, it's without fail, somebody comes up to me and tells me how much they enjoy it. But it's also recommended, or it's viewed by things like the number of requests that we've seen. So last year, we saw 88,000 requests to Hub Nashville using 6 call center agents who are averaging about 61 requests a day. The bulk of those things are for things that are in the Public Works Department. And so one of the great things also about Hub, and we've shared with you, Mayor, the metrics that we have in the dashboard for you, we can very easily look and see where the requests are, how many were made, how long it takes to respond those things, and I would bet that Mark Sturdivant, when he comes in here and he has his budget request, he's going to be using some of those statistics to point out kind of changes that he is anticipating over the next year. So we see nothing but that growing as we continue to bring other services into the hub. For instance, we're talking with the police department about bringing a number of services in today.
Okay, you and I have had this discussion before, so I don't think you should be surprised by it, because I'm really interested in terms of the prioritization process for which IT projects get done and which ones don't, and what that looks like, and then in turn, some type of an ROI, because, this is, we make these significant investments, but on the backside of it, we don't necessarily always see that translating into more efficient kind of operations. And I think you know that I've been interested in that for a while. And
Yes.
I just want to kind of hear from you, what are your thoughts about how we can get there, how we can turn that corner to get there?
So one of the ways that we've looked at the work that we do for a number of years now is Gartner has a model which you group projects and initiatives into 3 buckets: run the business, grow the business, transform the business. And I was looking at kind of our latest. Greg helped us put our last year's, or 2017 budget into the model. And I saw a preview of kind of where our money falls. The vast majority of the funds that we spend on projects and operations, 90% is in that run the show. So when we talk about priorities, our first priority always is to maintain systems and technologies that are already in place. So if your network is not running, you've got problems. If an existing system is end of life and it's going to fail to be re-upped by some organization, Microsoft is one that we're doing a huge amount of work right now because of Windows 7 is going end of life at the end of this year, in January of next year. Those are always the things that are prioritized first, and it's just logical. If you've got systems in place, that's the way we go. So it's secondarily where there are new transformative projects where those ROIs come into place. And so the best example that I would have is Hub and the work that was done through the PIP process several years ago to put those in place. So when we have funds internally, we are looking at the needs weekly, basically, and shuffling funds as we are allowed to do by accounting rules to make sure that if something is going to be end of life before another thing, that we're able to cover those needs appropriately.
Thanks for your hard work. I appreciate it very much. I don't know. I would try and ask a technology question, but I wouldn't know what to ask, really.
All right, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.